It is a new edition of ACC Baseball Etc. presented by our friends at Academy Sports and Outdoors. Get ready for a new season of fishing fun with Academy Sports and Outdoors and reel in the best gear at low prices every day. Plus, Academy offers easy ways to shop and save time, like free 1-hour in-store or curbside pickup on academy.com orders. Oh, yes, we are doing something a little different. See, we here at ACC Baseball Etc, we got a little too focused on the wrong things, right? Gravy, over the span of this season, we've been too focused maybe on the bench press and the curls, okay? We got to get back to enjoying leg day. So we're working our quads with a quad box today. Four of us.
See what you did there, DV?
Yeah. He
Four
snuck
of
that
us
in.
on the show. I am Daron Vaught. The Miami Hurricanes and Cincinnati Reds Hall of Famer Danny Graves is here, of course, as always. And we have the pleasure of a couple of Mikes being with us. Mike Monaco of ESPN, Mike Rooney of ESPN, and, of course, D1 Baseball. The reasoning is because these guys will be on your TV screens. ESPNU Sunday, the 27th. It is the annual ALS Awareness Game, played at Fenway Park. This year it happens to be Boston College and Miami. A couple of hot teams headed into this weekend, so that timing works out well. Guys, how are we? Welcome. It's great to see you.
Mons, let me go first. DV, it was fun to listen to you do the Academy Sports and Outdoors read live. And because, we do this on the bigger, like the global D1 baseball podcast.
D1 proper,
about
the D1 proper.
D1 proper, that's the term, where we talk about 7,000 teams.
The flagship.
The flagship, that's right, that's the phrase. And now we tape that podcast at 7:30 in the morning, my time. And I'm telling you, Gravy, you would have been proud. This morning, I smoked the Academy Sports and Outdoors read. I mean, just like
really
12th word out of my mouth, and I am hammering this thing. Now, the Takova's Boots read, which I hope, DV, you will mix in later. It was a yard sale. Like, it was, they had to get the police tape out for me. It was bad. Bad scene, Mons. I don't know. I'm not a professional. What can I tell you?
Runes, I got to be honest. I'm a loyal listener. Sometimes I just hit the plus 30 on ad reads. It's nothing personal to any sponsors.
Oh, that's heartbreaking.
But I will say, sometimes just to hear how you're going to do, sometimes I let it play out. And I don't know if it's Daron level. And so, I don't have much to add to that. You guys are experts at this. I don't read promos like that for a living. I also don't really participate in leg day too much. I did try deadlifting today because I do have chicken legs, and we're trying to rectify that.
Wow.
Runes, don't feel bad, because this column that you and I are in are never supposed to read promos, because these guys are the professionals. We're just here.
We're the pro readers, Mike.
Yeah. Gravy, have you ever had the horror, the terror that is live from home game and your play-by-play guy has disappeared on you? Have you ever had to live through that car accident?
Yeah, I did.
Oh,
and
gosh.
it was awful. Like, I wanted to throw up the whole time. Yeah.
I've had women's lacrosse game analyst loses Wi-Fi, and I don't know what's happening in the women's lacrosse game when the whistle gets blown. That was tough. Those were dark times.
Goodness, that is a dark time.
I don't ever want that to happen again.
No.
Apparently, it wasn't a train wreck like I thought it was, but I'm still to this day afraid to listen and go back and see what happened.
Oh, and just the terror, the sheer terror, though. Like this person could be gone for the game. Like you might have to. Yeah, you don't know. Like, you don't know.
That 2 innings felt like a 29 inning marathon.
Oh,
it was
gosh.
awful.
Yes.
I almost wanted to turn my Wi-Fi off.
So, DV, did you have an agenda, or we're just doing therapy sessions here?
No. I've got something to start us off.
Please.
So, you cannot lose an analyst or a play-by-play person when you're on site. That will happen to be the case for you guys at Fenway with Boston College and Miami. You guys have been doing this for a few years now, this particular game. I want to give you both the floor. What makes it so cool as an experience and as a game, and just as an ACC baseball community fixture at this point.
Yeah.
Go first, Mons. You go first.
Okay. Thanks, Runes. Yeah, Daron, I think for me, like, it is the singular most significant, like, profound sporting event that I do all year. And I don't think there's much of a case to be made against that. Like, I don't know, like you guys, you're involved in so many different things over the course of a calendar year. But when I really stop and think about it, I think it is like the most important work thing I do to raise awareness for ALS, which still does not have a cure yet. It's the 13th annual game that BC is doing for this. For anyone listening who doesn't know the backstory to it, formerly known and still known as Lou Gehrig's disease, but ALS, it has come more into the national focus, and we've grown so much more understanding of it over the years. But Boston College still puts this on and continues the fight that their former captain, Pete Frates, who unfortunately passed away about 5.5 years ago from ALS, that he spearheaded. And you remember back in 10 plus years ago now, the Ice Bucket Challenge, like that was Pete Frates, and that was Boston College baseball. So it's just an honor to be a part of it every year. Runes, myself, Danny Wexelman, like we've loved doing it every year that we have. You get amazing stories. Like I'll never forget 2 years ago, Boston College's ace, John West, like stumbling into starting that particular game at Fenway Park. And John West had previously lost his father to ALS. So just absolutely special stuff has happened when we've covered that. And it's just all that's right with like sports and humanity and love and people trying to affect change with their platforms. So as you can tell, because I'm rambling, but we absolutely love being a part of it. And it's really, really meaningful.
Yeah. DV, I would add that, like obviously I'm a college baseball nerd, and like it just makes me so proud that Pete Frates is one of our guys, not to be, like possessive of it, but it's like just makes you so proud that this guy was a college baseball player, and like his legacy is infinite, and and the Boston College program is the perfect program for this. It's such a special school and a special place. It's just amazing. Like the Boston College kids, like, if you said to them, are you going to get in the transfer portal? The BC player would be like, why? Is someone mad at me? Like, why would I leave here? Like they just love that program and the place so much. And, them going to the Frates Center every day for like as the hub of their program. And, Mike Gambino is such a special person in our sport. And obviously he was really close with Pete. And, now Mike's gone on to Penn State and doing great things there. And Todd Interdonato picks it right off where it was. And, he's another guy that's just an incredible person, the perfect person for this. And so, yeah, I just like, getting to do it in Fenway almost feels like icing on the cake, but that's like a cathedral. And I don't know, meeting Pete Frates' family, like when you meet his family, and Danny Wexelman does an amazing job of every year introducing us to them. And you're like, well, of course, Pete was like Superman on earth, right? Because you meet the family and they're like, everybody's a 15 out of 10. They're just the most incredible people. So it is, it's awesome. Like I think Mons nailed it. It's like every year you've got your fingers crossed and I'm lighting candles and I'm gonna get to do the game. But even if I never got to do it again, you just feel so blessed because it's everything that's right about sports. No question.
So real quick, we covered that for ACC PM that year that you're talking
That's
about
right.
when West threw that game, Mons. And like, if I never get to do that again, just to be able to be a part of that. And we had Pete Frates' mom on with us. And I was almost in tears just listening to her, and she wasn't sad, just the stories that she was saying. I mean, just a great family, obviously. I mean, in your terms, Runes, I mean, she's number 1 overall pick. Like that's how great this family is. Yeah. So just glad to obviously be a part of it that one time.
Danny, if I could just jump in there. Yeah. Like I have chills even right now, like when you talk about that night. So yeah, like John West, for anyone who doesn't know, his father, Ken, passed away in 2014. John was like 13 years old at the time. John West has since been drafted in the 12th round. Like he's a really talented guy. He was a basketball player in high school as well. And just a couple things that stick out from that game in 2023. I remember John saying afterward, like, because he wasn't supposed to be the starting pitcher, but then he ends up taking the mound at Fenway Park of all places, throwing this gem, like this career best outing, even aside from the significance of the game. He said afterward that it was like a stars aligned type of moment. And I remember John's mother saying after the game that, like, that is God working in mysterious ways. Like, she could attribute it to nothing else but that. And then Runes and I had this conversation last year with Todd, and he was saying, like, it's pretty eerie now how John West, in carrying on this mission, sounds so much like Pete Frates did. So it's you know, like the next generation who is still carrying on the fight for Pete, for the Frates family, who, again, like, they deserve so much credit in this as well. You know, Pete's wife, Pete's daughter, Pete's, you know, nuclear family himself, his parents, his brother, his sister. Like, we've gotten the chance to meet them. They're amazing people, like Runes just said. So yeah, like, there's so many people that deserve credit for what goes on there, and we just get to jump in and do some of the storytelling.
Yeah. DV, the Lucy Frates, Pete and Julie's daughter, throws out the first pitch most years. Yeah. And it gets a little dusty in the booth. I'll tell you, it's like that pollen kicks up hard. It's like, and she's like a very joyous, you know, young girl. She's like, I think she's 10 years old now, maybe 11 years old. And it is like, just when you think it can't get any more emotional, that happens. You're like, oh gosh, we're going to need a minute here.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. It's one of the coolest things that you will see with a given game across the ACC in a season. So pumped that you guys are going to be there for it again. I saw BC does a great job promoting this. Just a cool post on their baseball program's Instagram earlier today. So they went around Fenway and found Pete's number 3 as it is presented in various ways. So, like, imagine a home run distance marker on a wall, a section to sit in or whatever. And it's the number 3 probably a dozen times as you swipe through, which is great because, again, it honors him. It gives the cathedral-like feel of Fenway at the same time. So it got me amped up for it. It was pretty cool.
Yeah. So did you guys see the email from John O, the assistant director of communications from ACC, that today actually is the beginning of the first ever ACC Baseball Cancer Awareness Week? Did you guys see that?
I saw it in my box, but I haven't read it yet.
Yeah. I mean, just obviously the way that God throws things out there, as you guys mentioned, like, we had this lined up to talk about the ACC game with ALS awareness, and then this comes out. Like, I know it's different, but like it kind of gives me chills. Like, this is amazing.
Totally with you, Gravy. Like, that's, you know, it's bigger than sports, and that's so cliche, but like, it is, you know.
Yeah.
And I think it's also a nice way to, like, you know, we're coming down the home stretch of the regular season, and, you know, Daron, as you alluded to off the top, like, both these teams are, you know, coming off some real momentum here, especially Miami with what they're doing. But I think it's a nice time to kind of hit pause and just take stock of, all right, like, you know, we get sucked into RPIs and the D1 baseball projections, and Runes is freebasing the nerd cast like we all are. But we can hit pause and just appreciate, like, what's going on here on a bigger scale. So Gravy, I'm totally with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it. With that being said, should we talk some ball? Let's do it. Right? Okay.
We have to talk a little bit of baseball.
Of course. You guys are our guests, and we would not be good hosts if we did not give you the floor first. There's a lot of interesting results that occurred over the weekend in the ACC. Let's start with you, Runes. What stands out? What intrigued you the most?
I would say the team, like, I've been having this debate in my own mind and talking to others about it. Like, so Clemson and Louisville was an awesome series. Like, one of those, I'm going to be cliche, like one of those regular season series that feels like a super regional, 2 great teams, you know, like, we're just like, I love Louisville's position player group. I channeled my inner Dan McDonald there for a second. So I did grow up calling it Louisville.
Correct.
Yeah, that's right. I heard Berkey's voice in my head. I just like this Louisville team feels like the old school Louisville teams. They run, there's power, there's intensity. They're like front foot, to use the soccer term. Like they're just coming at you. Like Louisville gives up a lot of runs. Like I just wish they could find a way to prevent runs a little bit better to give that offense a chance. But I still think Louisville's got a really good chance to get to Omaha. Teg Davis is awesome. Like just their, Zion Rose, their whole position player group is phenomenal. And then Clemson is like, here's my theory on Clemson. They haven't been to Omaha since 2010. And the question I'm asking myself on Clemson is, why can't Clemson go to Omaha for the first time in a long time and just win the dang thing? Like Coastal did it, 10 years ago. And it's just like, because I think what Clemson has dealt with in the last two postseasons, where you have your guts ripped out by Tennessee, who should have never been in your regional as a 2 seed, right? That team should have been a host, but they just tripped all over themselves during the year. And then last year you get this freak show Florida team that shows up with Kaggs and Brandon Neely. So my thought is Clemson, there's nothing they're going to see in the postseason that they haven't already had to face. And is there a bunch of big leaguers on that team? I don't know, but man, there's a bunch of winning college players. Like there's just the bullpen is awesome. I think that's underrated. Canuck can face off against anybody. Their lineup is a nightmare 1 through 9. Dominic Listy. Like if I was a pitcher, honestly, I would throw 3 fastballs right down the middle to Dominic Listy, and then maybe even give him the bird, because it's just like I'm not throwing you 45 pitches tonight. I'm not doing that. I know that's your goal. We're not doing that. It was like, I don't know if you remember this, Gravy. It reminds me of Ryan Terrio. We faced him when he was at LSU one year at ASU, and 0-2, because that was the scouting report on Terrio. Is like, hey, when you get the 2 strikes, he's got you right where he wants you. So we threw first at bat of the game. We threw fastball right down the middle. We had to tell our pitcher ahead of time so he didn't shake. We said, we're going right down the middle on Terry, and we punched him out looking because he was so shocked. Of course, he probably had 4 hits from there, but that's Dominic Listy to me. So I'm sorry I got going there, DV, but Clemson's really top of mind for me because I think they can win the whole thing.
Yeah, I think our hesitations with Clemson toward the beginning of the year were just that. It was, okay, Canarella is a good prospect. Outside of that, it's a bunch of older college players who are good college players, but not anything that's going to wow you on a regular basis. And I'm going to hop on the cliche train. Like, it's coaching. It's 100% coaching. These guys play in a way that Eric Bakich and the rest of the staff want them to play. It's winning baseball. And you don't have to be a star-studded team to win when that's the case. And Canarella, don't look now, is looking as if he's starting to put it together. So if you combine that complete group of a winning baseball team with what Cam can be at his best, I'm with you. I think they're super dangerous. I've been in on them for the majority of the season. And I don't know that you guys have talked about it on the D1 Proper pod. There's not a super team. There's not, in a year like this, it probably should be somebody like Clemson to win it all, right? I mean, it feels like it's going to be a team that plays more mistake-free, that independent of the star power is just a good baseball team. So, yeah, I'm with you. I think it could be them.
Yeah, I think Bakich has tricked these guys into believing that they are really, really good players. Not that they're bad players, but, you give these guys the ability to go out there, just have some fun and play the game. Trust us what the process is. And some of these guys are just overachieving. And that's what you need, especially this time of the season, I think. Everybody's playing better than what they're supposed to be, and they start to get hot. Well, Jacob Jarrell is starting to get hot again. The dude Priest is hitting the ball out of the ballpark, and Purify is hitting third in the lineup. And, with Canarella, me and Daron's talked about this before. Like, it doesn't matter if he's hitting or not. If he's in the lineup, he's still dangerous because you still have to have a plan in case he does get hot. And it makes everybody else around him so much better. And then the only question that I have ever had about Clemson this whole year was who's going to pitch when Aiden Kanaka is not starting? Like, who's the guy? Well, Drew Titsworth pitched his first career start the other day and had 6 dominant innings, and I've never seen him throw like that. Like, he was dominating his ball. Like, he was coming. It almost looked like a right-handed Sid Fernandez, Runes, that like kind of shoots up at a certain angle. I don't know where that came from. And he was just dominant with his fastball. So if he can be number 2 to Canuck, well, yeah, why wouldn't you think that this team has every shot to win the College World Series? I mean, they're feeling it right now. Pano down at the bottom of the lineup, the House of Pain. This dude's bringing some bombs, man. I'm telling you, they got me so excited this past weekend. It was unbelievable just watching them play.
I love what you guys said about coaching as it relates to Eric Bakich. Like, he's one of those guys. When I used to work for Big Ten Network, I covered them when he was at Michigan. And it was one of those like conversations you have with a coach and you're like, whoa, like this guy just thinks differently. So I'll always be a huge, huge believer in him and them and what they're capable of doing. At Florida State, and let me say, like, hearts go out to everyone in Tallahassee and on that campus with what happened there the other day. But as improper a transition as it could be to the baseball team down there, like, I think that team is really figuring things out. And obviously, like, came in with the huge pedigree and the expectations and off Omaha and the turnaround last year. But I got to see them a few weeks ago. And even though they lost that series to Wake Forest, like Jamie Arnold, they feel like mechanically they got him back in a great spot. He was a little too crossbody and the fastball was spraying. They feel like they're in a better spot with that. Runes knows, he's heard me say this too many times, my belief in Link Jarrett as a future national championship winning coach. And then I'll give us our second Chris from Louisville reference here. When he and I were in Chapel Hill a couple weekends ago, we were playing the game of operating under the premise he had said in the preseason there will be 3 Omaha teams from the ACC, to which I would say, why can't there be more? But let's just operate under that. Let's say 3 or 4. I would just throw it out to you guys. Like, what's your confidence level like for who else is there? Like, for me, it starts with Florida State.
Yep.
Clemson is right there too.
Yeah.
And then there's a group of teams that I think can all make a case. And it might be like 7 more teams who could make a case for it. To your guys' point on like the lack of a super team, in much the same way there isn't the clear cut, Golden Spikes Award winner, which Runes has also documented with the fellas on the flagship. Like, this is a year where there's a lot of teams, I think, from the ACC who could make that interesting. Like, don't look now, but North Carolina's ripping off consecutively. The offense, like Scott Forbes had said to us, like, I feel like the offense is going to get in gear, and it has. Like, I saw Gavin Gallagher go nuclear a couple weekends ago. Those were kind of the expectations for him coming into his sophomore season. So I would just be curious, like a kind of, heat check on where you guys are on other teams. I know Rune's touched on Louisville. You guys have seen a bunch. We've all kind of seen different teams, but it's a really interesting crop, I think, beyond Florida State and Clemson.
North Carolina just needed Mons to show up with the Chapel Thrill again, and then they just took off. That's all it was. So
all of a sudden, there was 17-1, and Berkey and I are getting out of town after a run rule. No one saw that coming.
Yeah.
Oh, no, that's awesome.
It's an interesting question. Before the season, on our season preview episode, Mons, I sort of prompted it as, hypothetically, 4 ACC teams get in. Who are your 4? And in the preseason, I thought Florida State, Clemson for sure. I remember I said Duke. I had some conviction with them. They obviously have not been where they were predicted to be in the preseason, though I think they're starting to turn it on. Man, who was my 4th? I'm having a hard time remembering.
Wake, maybe? Was it Wake? Or was Fit really high on Wake at that time?
Fit was for sure high on Wake. I remember specifically that mine was not North Carolina. I'd have to go back and listen and see who my 4th. But Virginia? Like now, it's a totally different, to your point, Mike, it's a totally different picture outside of, I feel just as good, if not better, about FSU and Clemson.
It's a good problem to have, DV, because I'm writing down, fighting myself. I have too many candidates for 4 spots, right? So that's exactly the problem you wanted for the ACC, because
mine was, hold up. Sorry, Runes. Mine was Virginia. I felt,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I mean, they were my national championship pick. So
yeah, we all thought this team was better than the team was in Omaha last year. But Clemson and Florida State feel like that would be tier 1 for me. You guys are right, and I heard you talk about this, DV, on I think one of your recent episodes, where when North Carolina was kind of skeptical of the offense, and then they lose back-to-back series to Stanford and Louisville, I believe, and I just walked away. Like, I was just like, okay, I'm out, right? Like that does not look like a do damage in the postseason team. And now you wake up and North Carolina has won 8 of their 10 weekends. Like, just that little blip was the issue. And so, it's hard to not put North Carolina in there. Georgia Tech, I'm just all about the Danny Hall retirement year, in fairness, I like their team this year better. Like, I feel like in the past, it's always been a Drew Burress and a Drew Burress. This year, it's a Drew Burress and a Kyle Lodise. In the past, it was like the pitching's just, you're lighting candles. Right now, you've got Mason Patel and Tate McKee. I mean, they just feel demonstrably better than the last few Georgia Tech teams, who were actually fine. They were good teams. The team that's interesting to me is Wake Forest, because why couldn't Wake Forest be like 2023 Tennessee, 2024 Florida, where now they don't have Ethan Conrad, and that is a bummer, right? Like, that's a first-round pick who's out for the year. But you can't. I don't know. Like, you guys have seen more of Wake than I have, but I feel like the physical talent there is extreme. They're just playing horrible baseball. And what if they just clean it up a little bit? I don't know. Like, Wake's talent has my attention, but gosh, are they? I mean, they should be arrested for the self-inflicted damage they're doing to themselves. Like, somebody needs to call the cops on Wake.
Yeah, I've seen them a couple times. Daron, I know you just saw them. I had them the 2 previous weekends. I think Tom Walter would be the first to say also, like, the defense has to get better. Like, out conversion just is not happening at a high enough clip from what I've seen. And then, free passes. And we all think the world of Moose and the job he does with the pitchers there, and they have a ton of talent. Yeah, it's a big loss not having Ethan Conrad, and they kept hoping that he was going to be back sooner and that surgery wouldn't need to be the path they take, but he's had the surgery. So that's a bummer. Super talented guy, like, still might end up a first-round pick. Merrick Houston has made the jump. I think it's slowed down a little bit. Cade Lewis has been a monster. Like, I don't know if enough people nationally are talking about Cade Lewis and how good he's been. It's an OPS near 1,300. Tom Walter has said to us, like, it is metrically, and they're at the cutting edge of everything analytically. Cade Lewis's bat stays in the zone by, like, the tracking they do longer than, like, anyone they've had in the program since they've been tracking this stuff. And he's been phenomenal. But boy, they're still trying to figure out, like, the pieces in what slots in terms of their pitching as well. And they've got these super talented freshmen who, for various reasons, had stops and starts leading into the season with Marston and Lavonis. Lunsford was so good early on. Morningstar has been pretty stable. Runes, I'm with you. Like, right as you started talking about them, I thought 2024 Florida. So I'm not willing to sell on them, because certainly believe in that staff and the talent and, like, the recent history. But yeah, like, they got to handle their own house first, I think, in terms of kind of out conversion and free passes. But there is a lot to like if they do kind of get on track, and there's still time to do that.
So with Lavonis, I don't know. You guys tell me. I know the one game I saw him, it was an ACC Plus game where the
branding right, gravy. It's ACC Network Extra. Come on.
Okay, that's what it was. Right. That's exactly what it was. Sorry, but
hold up, your mic went out.
Somebody's telling me not to talk about this.
Got it. We got you now.
You can hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I can hear you through the computer with that, which is good. So that game, but since Professor Vaught wasn't calling it, I muted it. But before I muted it, the announcers were saying that Lavonis has 6 pitches. Why does he really have 6? And why can't he just throw 2 or 3? Because he's filthy with the 2 or 3.
He doesn't throw all 6.
Okay.
I've actually got a guy who pitches at High Point in my sports announcing class there that played against and with Lavonis in high school. And he told me at one point he had added a forkball as a senior in high school. So he had 7 pitches. He does not throw all of them. He doesn't, but it's like a legit 5-pitch.
Yeah, it's a legit 4-pitch mix. Like 2 distinct breaking balls. He's a fascinating.
He's got great stuff. Like I feel like he should be dominating right now.
Berkey was watching the film on Synergy and was texting me like the emoji with the hearts in the eyes. Like he was ready to proclaim him a couple years from now as like 1-1. Like it's that kind of ability. And so they moved him into the weekend rotation now these last 2 weeks, and it hasn't gone great. The second one was a little bit better than the first one, but like the talent is there, and this kid is obsessed with pitching. Like he'd be texting Moose like when he was still in high school about like, okay, I'm throwing my 3 pitches each 33% of the time, but what if I'm up to 5 pitches and I throw each of them 20% of the time? Like that's the type of kid he is. So yeah, super interesting guy. We're deep down a Wake rabbit hole right now, but
he needs a girlfriend and less pitches, Gravy, is what I'm saying. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I hope that's an inappropriate, but like we're spending too much time on pitching. Maybe we need to up the social life.
Take the computer away. Just have a baseball and a glove. Have somebody to throw it to. That's it.
Let me cap the Wake piece of this discussion just by a quick observation, both about the pitching and the defense that we were talking about. So Lavonis is a great example of this. In this pitching lab era of Wake Forest baseball, there's not a guy in that program who doesn't have incredible stuff. A lot of the time, great stuff means great strikeout pitches. Great strikeout pitches don't always land in the zone.
They don't work on 0-0.
What they have run into is teams with a scouting report, I think, allowing themselves to be more patient with the pitching staff. Because again, a great strikeout pitch, if you take it more often than not, is not a strike. This slide of theirs started with their series at Clemson. I was there to do that one too. And that was very evident. Bruins, you talk about Dom Listy. If anyone is factory made to have success against a team that is trying to bait you outside of the strike zone, it's Dom Listy and a lot of those Clemson hitters. That's kind of where the slide started. It was that weird first inning where Lunsford walked each of the first 3 batters, and it was an implosion from there. Teams, I think, have started to figure that out. And then for BC this past weekend, okay, you have by far and away the lowest fielding percentage of any team in the ACC. What's the worst possible matchup for you? A Todd Interdonato squad that's going to put it in play, make you make plays. They're going to run like crazy, steal 4 or 5 bases a game. It was not a good matchup for Wake. But the talent is there. I mean, Cade Lewis, Merrick Houston, 2 guys who are in the top 5 of WAR amongst position players in the ACC. Like, it's hard to imagine a team having 2 guys like that in the lineup and the talent that they have on the pitching staff and not being right up there, separated from that middle glut of the standings. But there they are. They're a game below 500 in the ACC. So, I mean, again, the potential is there. You're right, Runes. You're 100% right. And at least their ills are fixable at this point. It's one thing to just be a bad team or not as talented as teams you're going to play. So it is fixable, but everything feels very uncomfortable for them. They're like doing some tinkering with the lineup, moving guys in and out of the rotation. The Will Ray injury, I think, was huge because that affects the divvying of innings in the bullpen for sure. They thought Josh Gunther was going to be maybe their closer guy. They've lost some faith in him. Every decision, it just feels a little unsettled. And I think that that is what is being outwardly displayed by the play on the field. So that's heavy Wake Forest stuff for quite a bit there.
DV, they're going to be in the postseason too. Like they've got to, like, their RPI is splendid. It's like 25. So they're, unless they just fall all over themselves, like, we're going to get to see this story play out. Yeah.
All right. Anything else? What would be your second impression? No, never mind. Hold on. I went to you guys, the mics. Gravy. You had the bird's eye view in studio this weekend. What besides what has already been mentioned stood out to you?
I thought Mons was going to talk about Miami so that I wouldn't have to. But so, like, I don't know where this pitching came from that they had these last 3 starts and then the bullpen coming in. Like, has anybody held Georgia Tech to 2 runs a game in a 3-game series all year long? Like, has Drew Burris struggled in a weekend series ever since he's been in college? They got Lodis back in the lineup. Lodis was out of lineup for a while. And then he gets back in the lineup. And granted, he was getting some hits and doing some things, but Miami's pitching just absolutely shut them down. So I know it's just one of those weekends because you can't keep those bats quiet for too much longer, I'd imagine. But was Miami just that much better right now? Or was Georgia Tech starting to falter a little bit? Because Patel, who has been outstanding all year long, he only pitched, I think, 1 inning in this whole series, and he gave up a 3-run homer. Like, he barely pitched. So I don't know. Like, not saying Miami's going to make it to make some noise in the tournament and go to the regionals and all that. I'm just saying Miami was very impressive against the best hitting team in the ACC.
Mons, you want to go first or second on Miami? I've done a little homework on them.
Get us going, Runes, please.
So first of all, I'm going to give a D1 plug right now. I had a couple games last weekend. So then, I last night I'm like, oh crap, I really need to plug in on Miami because we're going to have them twice next weekend. And they've been, to your point, Gravy, Miami's kind of been a ghost all year, right? Like, they've just, they lose that series to Florida early on, and you're kind of like, here we go again. It's a bunch of new faces, etc. And, I would say Bradley Smart, who does ACC Extra for the D1 site, there's just such a cool feature where you can just go and search by a team and get all his old articles. And Bradley is, it's incredible the coverage he provides. But what's interesting to me about Miami is, first of all, Cuvée got off to a tough start, and he's not going to match his freshman year numbers, and home runs are down anyway, but he's getting hot. Brian Walter really struggled as a starter, and that's Andrew's younger brother. Now he's in the bullpen, and it's like a switch flipped immediately. Like, now he's unhittable, right? Yeah. You start him in a game, and it's like a fireworks show. You put him in the bullpen, and nobody can get a hit. So, and then those 2 freshmen, I might mispronounce the names, but Darius and Siskar, I think I've never seen that last name before, but I saw the video of Siskar. It's like this monstrous kid with a sidearm slot and balls jumping all over the joint. And so, I don't know, Mons, it looks like Miami's kind of found a formula. I will say this on Georgia Tech. Their schedule's been very favorable so far. And I still think they're going to figure it out. But at Miami, besides the Clemson series, which they hosted, I don't know. Like, I think Georgia Tech, I want to give them benefit of the doubt to recover. But they have played mostly the bottom of the league.
Yeah, Runes, to your point on Miami, if we do get Darius in our game Sunday, I know you'll do the Saturday game as well. Like, excited to see him. He's been in the weekend rotation the last 3 weekends. I think juggling pieces has helped. Cuvée trending up, even if he's not going to hit 24 home runs when it's all said and done again. I think that'll help. Listening to Danny and Devin Travis call games, it sounds like, just working through some of the mental side of hitting over the course of a long season, and the book's out on you and everyone knows who you are now as a sophomore. I think Dorian Gonzalez, his bat ticking back up recently has really helped. A veteran bat, guy with like 700 collegiate plate appearances, hitting behind Cuvée in the 4 spot. Like, that helps some length for the offense. So I'm really excited to see them. I always enjoy chatting with JD. So I'm pumped to see where they're at, and they're certainly trending up. And when you look at their record, it's like, all right, like they could have a real solid finish to the season here. If they have kind of put the pieces in the right spot pitching wise. So I'm excited to see them.
Yeah. They're 10-2 in their last 12 games. Griffin Hughes has been really good as their ace all year. So now they work the 2 freshmen into the rotation. They've got a couple freshman outfielders that I like a lot, Fabio Peralta and Michael Torres. I saw them. I did all 3 of their games at North Carolina, which was not a good series to see them. I am guilty all the time of seeing a team once or twice and thinking that is the team, and I don't need to see them anymore. But even in an unsuccessful weekend against North Carolina, I saw a lot of good and a lot of intrigue in that freshman class in particular. It's just an interesting mix. And we've talked about all year how it's a fascinating way to do it. If you're JD and his coaching staff, I mean, you took a multi-year starter and cut them in the fall even. And you were trying to make a statement. I think they got really tired really quickly of Miami not being Miami. And we're just trying to shake some things up. And as a result, you get a good group of talent, some of it young, some of it, yes, experienced, but you're trying to get them meshed together with a short on-ramp to the conference season. So it makes sense to me that they are turning a corner of sorts. I don't know what that means as far as a ceiling goes, but it makes sense that this is sort of the trajectory.
Gravy, my only bone to pick was the Mark Light shake last weekend that Danny Wexelman and Devo had.
Yeah.
It was like
Chicken
a
and
meal.
waffle.
What that can't be a milkshake. What that's
No.
like food.
Yeah, she took a swig of it, and I know she didn't say it was bad, but I could tell that it was disgusting just by her reaction.
It's
Chicken
like,
and waffle should not be a shake.
no, it's like, what are we doing? Tuna casserole milkshake today. It's like, what are we doing? Like,
Yeah.
just can we get some fruit in there, Mon? Something.
Well, I told Devo I liked what he had. He just had Oreo. That's perfect.
Keep it simple.
Nothing wrong with simple. Like,
Yeah,
let's just wear it off the elbow and get on base. Let's go.
Although I will say, with something like a Bloody Mary, I need it to be a meal. Like, put a kebab in there and throw a full burger on it. That's how, that's my take on Bloody Marys. I don't know if that translates over to a shake, but I could get into it, right? If you attach a donut to the top of that thing, sure, I'm in.
Can I ask you guys a travel question now, since we've opened the floor here? Like, what's the appropriate time on an airplane to get an alcoholic beverage? Because let me tell you, I see some things on airplanes, and it'll open your eyes.
Time of day, you mean? Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, time of day. Like, what's an appropriate time?
So it depends what you get. I think if you get Bailey's and coffee, like, that's a morning drink, or a Bloody Mary, that's a morning. But if you're going like, hey, I need Jack and Coke, that's got to be PM, sometime into PM.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's my take on it.
Yeah, I like that.
Mike,
At 6 a.m. though.
Yeah, that's a little shady.
see, you ask what is an appropriate time of day. I ask, what is time? Who cares? Let people get what they want. You know,
It's 4 o'clock somewhere. This was as the expression goes.
All right. I do not have a Tecovas read here, Runes, because we do things a little bit differently here, but I do have this. Attention ball players, upgrade your swing with the 2025 Soldier Tank Series from Soldier Sports. The BB Core model is built with infused power alloy technology and an ultra-hot sweet spot that packs power even on mishits. Looking for extra control? Then the 2-piece BB Core version delivers extreme whip and leverage. And for our rising stars, the USSSA Youth Bat brings elite performance in a youth-friendly design. Backed by 2.5 years of research, it's time to drop tanks with the tank. Visit soldiersports.us. That was the
TV,
Ron
that's a first pitch strike right there. That's that's count leverage for you. Well played. Well done.
Well,
well
it was putting the Ron Burgundy theory to use there, or to the test there, because I said 2.5 and quickly corrected myself, but they throw
all
anything in there and I'll read it. So heads up, soldier.
Stay classy, San Diego.
I want to talk about Duke because they have been my watched pot for a few weeks now. I declared that we were not on this show going to talk about whether they were good or not because we just got to let them do their thing, right? I'm here to tell you, Gravy, I think they're good. I think they're figuring it out. Owen Prosch and Reed Easterly as their two best pitchers on the season was not predictable. But here we are. Prosch, the left-hander, just turned in the best outing of his career over the weekend. Easterly, the Yale transfer, I like an Ivy League transfer in our league. He's been great. Your guy Talon has been dominant as of late. We are huge Gabe Nard fans on this show. He continues to be productive out of the bullpen. And AJ Gracia, maybe there's something here with sophomore slumps around the ACC. We just got finished talking about Miami and Daniel Cuvée. Gracia was hitting sub 200 and got demoted to 9th in the order. He was in the 9 hole. Was last 11, not quite 400 average. He's hit a couple of bombs. It's coming around. Ben Miller and Wallace Clark have been good. What say we on the Blue Devils?
I can't believe that you went with this. Like, guys, he said I don't even remember how long ago. He said he wasn't going to talk about Duke ever again.
We're out. Yeah.
Yeah. And then now, they play a little bit better. He jumps right back on board.
I said, to be fair, I used the watched pot analogy and said if you're looking for it, it's not going to happen. They're not going to boil. I feel like their quality of play has warranted that we discuss that again.
That's it. I just hope that you didn't put them a step backwards now. No, I didn't say that. I didn't put that out there. Listen, yes, I think it's great. I think it's great that because Coach Pollard, I love this guy. I love how awesome. He works the pitching staff. You get Kyle Johnson. They put him back in the rotation. Not so good, but at least he's pitching, right? So whatever his role is going to be, is it going to be bullpens? Is it going to be weekday starts or weekend starts, weekday, whatever? I think they need another arm. Are you going to get that out of Owen Prosch every start? I mean, that was pretty dominating, obviously. But they got to face Virginia Tech in their next big series. Virginia Tech's been swinging the bats pretty well. I just don't want to give them too much credit yet. I almost want to just say, don't wake them up. Let them just keep playing. I know that's probably generic and not what you wanted to hear.
No, that's okay. That's okay. Maybe I needed it. Maybe I needed that. You want to pull back the reins. I'm okay with it.
DV, can I give you a quick opinion on Duke?
Yeah.
I think just by sheer will of Coach Pollard and that coaching staff, they're going to get to a regional. And I think that's going to be the show. They've got 13 pitchers that have 10 or more appearances. It's almost like the Tampa Bay Rays, but without any governor at all. Everybody's an opener and a reliever. And I know Prosch has changed that a tiny bit, but he's still kind of a reliever at heart to me. And their position player group feels a little bit over-indexed on power, and that hurts their defense. And we wake up and whatever's happening in college baseball, but the ball's just not traveling the way it's been the last couple of years. We had 5 kids hit 30 home runs last year. We're not going to have anybody scare 30 home runs this year. And so I just don't love Duke's roster construction right now. It feels just a little outdated to me, which is weird because they're so modern. But I would be surprised if they don't make a regional. In my mind, I don't have a visual for how they advance past that.
Yeah, I get that. And maybe I need to sort of put some borders on what I mean as good, right? And good enough to talk about. They are not what I especially thought they were going to be at the beginning of the season. I think good is regional, right? And from there, who knows? But I think they're settling into an identity. Last team I want to cover. NC State's back in the top 25. Don't look now. What do you got? What do you got on the Wolfpack, Runes?
I feel bad about myself because they lost 5 in a row. I apologize to Elliot in person for this. They lost. Me and Coach Farron had him on our radio show, and I apologize in person. So I feel good about that, even though I don't feel good about myself as a person. When NC State lost 5 in a row, I just completely quit on them. I sold like all of Coach Rooney's NC State gear is at Play It Again Sports in Prescott, Arizona. Like I didn't even put it, I didn't even rotate it in my closet, Gravy. I sold it. Like I was out because the team that I thought we were getting, I had been lied to. Like I thought we were getting these incredible relievers that didn't transfer and they were going to carry the day and the pitching while this young position player group matured, and the position player group did not look like a normal NC State position player group. And the pitching was just not good at all to start. Like, thank God for Ryan Marone. I think he kind of saved their season. But anyway, then you wake up, 5 weeks later and NC State's going to, just make a regional again easily. And, so the Elliot and his coaching staff, Clint Chrysler and, Chris Hart, they might be the most underrated coaching staff in America. Like they just figure it out with these non-famous players every single year. So I've got egg all over my face there. I feel like a terrible human.
So you thought you got catfished at first, huh?
Oh, I was mad, Gravy. I was like, what? Like, who kidnapped Jacob Duden? Where's Cooper Consiglio? What are you doing? Did you take up golf or something? What happened? Like, where are all these dudes? And now, of course, Ryan Marone said, you guys just go figure yourselves out. I got it. Yeah. I'm going to throw like 8 innings every weekend. It's going to be good. And it's all fine.
Well, we've said it. Ryan Marone's the best Sunday starter that we've seen. Like, you know what you're going to get out of him for sure.
Awesome. Yeah. He's their MVP
this past weekend. Yeah. He was so good. Like 7 2/3 again. Duden found it, 2 weekends ago? Again, he kind of got back on track with that long one. I think it was in their opener that weekend. Runes, to go back to what you said about their coaching staff, that is another staff that I will never bet against. Like they just find ways to figure it out. Put my voice in that column with you as well.
Yeah, I should go buy that gear back, Mons, and I can give it to you. I don't deserve to wear NC State gear ever again. At least I've got to be on like a 2-year probation, but I could go grab that for you.
I'm in Raleigh right now, so I might go see if Elliot's got a little extra lying around. Some issue gear.
Oh, that's great.
That said, go Canes. Big 4-1 win over the Devils. Feeling good about them, right, Grave? Right?
Hockey. Raleigh, in on Raleigh the Canes.
Gravy's in on the Canes. Okay. All right. Stanley Cup or bust. Mike's going to be the soundtrack to bits and pieces of it.
Yeah.
And he's going to mix in some college baseball, including Sunday, the 27th, ESPNU, the ALS Awareness Game, BC and Miami. That'll be really, really cool. If you've never taken in one of those games, highly, highly recommend you pop them on.
TV, that. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Am I getting to do Hall of Fame with Hall of Name with Gravy? Can I do my name?
That was my next point. All right. I wanted to give you guys a score to give.
Do you have one, Mons? Do you have one for Gravy?
I'm just going to be a observer, very interested, I might add, taking it all in.
Okay. So you guys don't know this, but Gravy and I played against each other in college, but I was a utility guy and Gravy was only a freshman. This is 1992. Our Notre Dame team played Danny Gravy's Hurricanes 5 times. We played them 3 games in the regular season in Miami and twice in the Coral Gables regional, including a game to go to Omaha. That's your freshman year, Gravy, right?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. Yep. So the catcher our team, Pat Murphy's our head coach, Craig Council's our shortstop. We actually had 2 big leaguers on that team. Chris Mihalik pitching the big leagues. Yeah. And Miami's just ridiculous. They're loaded, right? And Ron Frazier's last season, and we were teasing everyone that the umpires had "We're gonna miss you, Ron" T-shirts on underneath, and anyway, Gravy's catcher was Charles Johnson, And I had never seen a catcher that big and that intimidating. Now, he sounds like a sweet guy, but I remember getting to pinch hit in one of those games, and it's like you go up to home plate and Charles Johnson's sitting there, and you're like, excuse me, sir, do you mind if I stand here? Like it felt like his batter's box. And then in one of those games, Gravy, Murph put me into pinch run, which was fine. That was like my main role, my main job. And then it's like late in the game, and then he gives me the steal sign. And in my mind, I'm like, come on, man.
Yeah. Did he remember that who was catching?
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, and then I'm panicking in my mind. I'm like, do I miss the sign on purpose or do I embarrass myself? Right. So, Murph saw a big guy. Missing the sign usually didn't go well. So I steal second, and I hear the throw go by me on the way to second base. And it's 90 feet from first base to second base. Charles Johnson threw me out by a good 37 feet. Like it was not this the infielder sitting there with a drink, an umbrella drink, and the baseball getting ready to tag me. I was so out. It was embarrassing. I didn't even know whether to slide or not. Right? It's like, what do you do? It's like so. Anyway, it was watching Charles Johnson throw a baseball, Gravy, was like delightful. You go wherever you want with that, but I wanted to bring up Charles Johnson. He was awesome.
Yeah, he was a man, like playing against little leaguers. Like his stature, I mean, just standing next to him, it's like there's no way that this guy is only 2 years older than I am, and there's no way that he's still playing in college. He should have signed out of high school. Like he's that talented, and we called him Big Dog just because he was the man. He was the head honcho, but his arm, like, I don't know how else you can describe his arm except that you got thrown out by 37 feet, because it was an absolute rocket and it was perfect every time. And when I say every time, maybe not 9 out of 10, but 99 out of 100, it was there. It was right there. There was never short hops. I couldn't believe it. I've never seen a catcher like that be able to throw so well. And that's why he won Gold Gloves in the big leagues, not because that he could receive, because he wasn't the best receiver and like stealing strikes, but the transfer from the glove to his hand and then the pop time, it was like, if there was a way for the stopwatch to go backwards, it would have gone backwards. Like it was ridiculous.
Rockets. I mean, it was seriously like, I remember getting thrown out and I was like, I don't even feel that bad. Like Murph, this is on you. This is it. You did this.
Yeah.
It was so good.
He accidentally gave you the steal sign. He couldn't have meant to do that.
Yeah.
So I'll take it another step from here, because usually in this, it doesn't just like relate absolutely to baseball. Sometimes it's only baseball, but more times than not, it's about other stuff.
The etc, of course.
Etc. So he is the sweet. You mentioned sweet. He's the coolest dude. Like he's so laid back and so nice. And but his wife, Rhonda, she was with him in college too. And so I was supposed to go on a date one night. She came in and knew that I was nervous, and she brought me his cologne, and she's like, you wear this cologne and you'll be able to do anything you want tonight. And it was Cool Water cologne. Remember Cool Water? I know you do, Runes.
Yes. Come on.
I put on the cologne, and I'll just leave it at that. But it was a great piece of advice. She's awesome.
Why are you leaving it at that? Cool Water. That
yada.
Let's just say that I had
too
many drinks, probably.
All right. Okay.
That is amazing. Rhonda Johnson. Well done.
Yeah, Rhonda. She's awesome. She's the spokesperson
there's
for
Cool Papa
Johnson
Bell,
Family.
and then there's Cool Water Gravy.
Yeah, Cool Water.
Cool Water.
Oh man, like anytime I see Cool Water, I think of Rhonda Johnson. It's amazing.
So great.
I'm going to think of you instead of like Jose Canseco now, right? Wasn't he? He might not have been in an ad, but I know they referenced it in the Bash Brothers, the Lonely Island thing for Netflix. They referenced Cool Water in that.
They did? Oh, yeah. Well, erase that. Hey, Runes, I'm just glad that you didn't say, okay, Hall of Name, Mike Monaco, because we know where that would have gone.
Oh, that would have gotten you in more trouble than the Cool Water cologne.
Way more trouble.
For sure.
For next time, guys. All right, Mike Monaco, Mike Rooney are going to be on the call. Sunday the 27th, ESPNU, BC, Miami, the 13th annual ALS Awareness Game hosted by Fenway Park, Boston College as a program. Fantastic stuff. Danny Wexelman will be reporting there as well, friend of the show. Be sure to check that out. Guys, this was fun. This was good. We don't do this often enough. We don't.
No.
This is awesome.
I like
Thank
this.
you, guys.
Hey,
A pleasure to be invited.
I got a shameless plug too. Tuesday, the 22nd, which I don't know when this is actually airing.
Probably the same day.
So Georgia Clemson, I'm on the call.
Let's go.
Turn on
nice.
your TVs.
Who's your partner, Gravy? Do you
Chris
know?
Cotter.
Oh, he's a
Let's
legend.
go.
He's the lacrosse master, dude. He might be the best lacrosse announcer I've ever heard.
Now you're talking about a guy that doesn't miss a weight workout.
Oh,
No.
Yeah.
dude, he has muscles in his eyelids.
Yeah. His whole wardrobe is schmedium, not because he orders schmedium, just because he's that big.
Yeah, dude, his voice has muscles when it comes out. Like,
Seriously.
yeah, I love him though.
Awesome.
All right,
Thanks,
we've
buddy.
hit an hour. Let's get people on their way. Thanks for joining us. Mons, Runes, just an absolute pleasure having you guys here. And we'll talk to everybody else soon, really soon.